Hey everyone, Dave Ryan, December 1773, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, weekdays at 7 p.m. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble, like and comment. Comment what you think about the Twitter files so far. We got another installment of Twitter files today. I'm very excited. And Fauci files are supposed to be out soon, so I'm super excited about that. We'll see
I'm
when
sure
that...
there's nothing in those, David.
No, I'm sure it's just going to be a nothing burger, right? Highly doubt that.
I can't wait to read the tweet headline that literally says NIH receipt to Fauci. And then Rand Paul is going to be chewing a Snickers gif underneath it because I'm commenting on that. Fuck, I cannot wait.
The Twitter files, how the Twitter let the intelligence community in.
Did they let them, David, or they were forced?
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody kicks the door in, you didn't really let them in, did you?
Yeah, if they can no-knock raid my house, what can they do on social media? I feel deceived.
In August 2017, when Facebook decided to suspend 300 accounts with, quote, suspected Russian origin, Twitter wasn't worried. Its leaders were sure they didn't have a Russia problem. Probably because nobody had a Russia problem. See, Twitter was right. They were right. They knew. There's no Russia problem.
Russia.
We did not see a big correlation, no larger patterns. FB might take action on hundreds of accounts, and we might take action on 25. Quote,
well, that's all they need, right? That's all you need to do is shut down 25 accounts to stop an election misinformation campaign.
Yeah, well, just stop that $50,000 in Facebook ads, apparently. Quote, keep the focus on FB. Twitter was so sure they had no Russia problem, execs agreed the best PR strategy was to say nothing on record and quietly hurl reporters at Facebook.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
That's a fucking grade A strategy.
We're not doing
right
anything.
There.
We're just...
I love that strategy. Yeah, nothing going on here, but why don't you go ask Facebook about it?
Yeah, didn't Facebook? They probably dropped on Twitter that Facebook got 50K in ads from Russian bots, and that's what fucking started that. Yeah, I'm sure Facebook gave that money back, right?
No,
right,
not.
right.
Twitter is not the focus of inquiry into Russian election meddling right now. The spotlight is on FB, wrote Public Policy VP Colin Crowell.
Oh, so this was a orchestrated.
He kind of said that like a Jedi. Twitter is not the focus of.
Focus it is not on Twitter. Go see Facebook, you shall.
September 2017, after a cursory review, Twitter informed the Senate it suspended 22 possible Russian accounts and 179 others with possible links. Wait, what happened to 25? Amid a larger set of roughly 2,700 suspects manually examined. Receiving these meager results, a furious Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, held an immediate press conference to denounce Twitter's report as frankly inadequate on every level. Shut up, Mark Warner.
So don't change it. It's fucking inadequate at every level. Yeah, just run it.
Hashtag irony.
This is the same organization that has like all of the back doors allowed to all of our data to our smartphones that have banking and healthcare and pictures of our children and our fucking fingerprint, our face.
But you got to remember, everyone knows that now. Now we always knew that, but they know that now.
Snowden said they called them Smurfs and used to laugh about it. Oh, Papa Smurf. That's just the one that turns the camera on to see your wife change her clothes. Nothing to hide, right?
Mused Crowell the day after Warner's presser after receiving e-circular from Warner's re-election campaign asking for $5 or whatever you can spare. LOL, replied General Counsel Sean Edgett. Keep producing material. After meeting with congressional leaders, Crowell wrote, Warner has political incentive to keep this issue at top of the news, maintain pressure on us and rest of the industry to keep producing material for them. That's interesting. That means they must have known that he could keep it at the top of the news. almost like the government's in charge of the news.
Yeah, I mean, why else would they just, keep doing the same modus operandi if they didn't have clearance from the upper level? Like that's what's crazy with that last week's. Sorry to cut you off, Dave, but last week's revelation about like the way the military's plugged in. I don't think we have an exact timeline of overlap of a lot of these documents, right? To say that this part is from this date and this is this date. If you correlate them, the military to like, I don't think anybody has that even figured out yet. But like, yeah, these VPs they're not just coming up with, they're being given this as a strategy to implement into social media. There's no way, like I read a thing that Twitter's already making money when Elon took over. Once again, these people, like their business model and what they were doing was counterintuitive to making money if it was about making money, but it wasn't. And these are all proving that. We said this for a while, but it's just very interesting to see. Like we have the documents that like they're just given like a fucking syllabus to follow here. And it's coming from top control,
Well, here's top control right here. Taking their cues from Hillary Clinton. Kroll added Dems were taking cues from Hillary Clinton, who that week said, "It's time for Twitter to stop dragging its heels and live up to the fact that its platform is being used as a tool for cyber warfare." In growing anxiety over...
While she pushed a fake dossier
That's right. But it was Russian, Ryan, so you got to keep an eye out on
This is right out of her mentor's playbook, Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. Accuse your opponents of exactly what you are doing.
In growing anxiety over its PR problems, Twitter formed a, quote, Russia task force to proactively self-investigate. The Russia task force.
Imagine if Trump did his own taxes and be like, yeah, here's my findings. It wouldn't have been enough for them.
No, you can't self-investigate. Everyone knows that. It's like the number one thing the government loves to do. See, we looked into it. We looked into it and we're clean. Good.
We'll have the FBI investigate the CIA and get back to you.
The Russia task force started mainly with data shared from counterparts at Facebook, centered around accounts supposedly tied to Russia's Internet Research Agency, the IRA. But the search for Russian perfidy was a dud. On October 13th, 2017, no evidence of a coordinated approach. All of the accounts found seemed to be lone wolf type activity, different timing, spend targeting, less than 10K in ad spend.
Oh, so they stole the election with less money on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter didn't need quite as much ad spend as Facebook did.
Well, why didn't they just throttle the information, David?
Oh, don't worry. We're getting to that. October 18th, 2017, first round of the RU investigations. 15 high-risk accounts, 3 of which have connections with Russia, although 2 are RT. October 20th, 2017, built a new version of the model that is lower precision but higher recall, which allows to catch more items. We aren't seeing substantially more suspicious accounts. We'd expect to find 20 with a small amount of spend. Finished with the investigation, 2,500 full manual account reviews. We think this is exhaustive. 32 suspicious accounts and only 17 of those connected with Russia. Only 2 of those have significant spend, one of which is Russia Today, remaining less than 10K in spend. So out of 2,500 accounts that they fully reviewed, only 2 of them were really doing anything significant.
No, a serious question. How much time and money do you think it costs to do this level of sifting through accounts and stuff?
Well, it certainly can't be cheap, I wouldn't think. I mean, these are full manual account reviews. This isn't AI.
Yeah, it can't be like it's like it's not that it's not easy, but it's not that it's not hard, but it's not that it's not a lot of time, but it still takes time, kind of. It's
you would definitely have to dedicate a small group of staff.
Yeah, it's like
for quite a period of a time to go through 2,500 accounts in full review.
Yeah, and really do a self audit. We're gonna self audit this. It's interesting.
Twitter's search finding only 2 significant accounts, one of which is Russia Today, was based on the same data that later inspired panic headlines like Russia Russian influence reached 126 million through Facebook alone.
Where's the fact check on that? Because I doubt that.
50K in Facebook ads. You got 126 million people. Show me ads that are that effective. I'm spending the money today.
Please. That's better than a Super Bowl return. That's literally like you fucking hitting $1 million on a fucking 5-cent scratchy. Like, really? I mean, really? You know what? You got a better chance of getting hit by a pro football player and having fucking a cardiac arrest than you probably are having $50,000 in ads equivalent to a third of the American population.
Yeah, good luck.
That algorithm just got to be just dialed. It's just
that's top-notch algorithm right there.
Fuck, man.
The failure of the Russia task force to produce material worsened the company's PR crisis. In the weeks after Warner's presser, a torrent of stories sourced to the intel community poured into the news. An example being Politico's October 13th. Twitter deleted data potentially crucial to Russia probes.
No, it didn't permeate the news. Don't repaint history, you bastards. What, 2 news articles were printed? Oh, it was all over the place. No, you're probably talking about some fucking silly shit with the Royals. It's unbelievable. It wasn't all over the news. I would have remembered it because I have a photographic memory, of course, David.
Were Twitter a contractor for the FSB, they could not have built a more effective disinformation platform, Johns Hopkins professor and Intel committee expert Thomas Rid told Politico. How do you get an Intel committee expert badge of honor?
I don't know,
that was self-identified for sure, like Fauci's a physician.
I do got to say, a spy admitting that the Russians built the most effective disinformation program in the history of disinformation programs is not only probably wrong, but it's hilarious. It's also like, if it's the most effective disinformation campaign ever, what it should say is the campaign to meddle the United States elections by Facebook to build the most effective disinformation algorithm campaign in the history of the human history. That's what that should say. It's actually Facebook that built the disinformation campaign. Russia just hijacked it, if anything.
As Congress threatened costly legislation and Twitter was subject to more bad press fueled by the committees, the company changed its tune about the smallness of its Russia problem. This is interesting.
What do you mean smallest? You ignored it before? Fucking.
Well, this is where we start to figure out how they weaved their way in, right? Congress threatened costly legislation. So is Twitter's this is them bashing your right kneecap with a baseball bat and threatening your left kneecap. It's time to get on board. This is costly legislation. You better fucking get on board fast. Hi guys, just passing along for awareness the write-up here from the Washington Post today on the potential legislation or new FEC regulations that may affect our political advertising.
Hey, if you guys didn't see this thing that was written in the newspaper, I'm just sending it along to everybody in the company. Everything's fine though. It's just the news is talking about us.
In Washington,
yell in your ear.
In Washington, weeks after the first briefing, Twitter leaders were told by Senate staff that Senator Warren feels like the tech industry was in denial for months. Added an Intel staffer, big interest in Political article about deleted accounts. Twitter pledged to work with them on their desire to legislate. Interesting.
So hold on. So this is like the impregnation of Congress into Twitter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This
do
sounds
we have
like
a date on this? Do we have dates on this current timeline or rolling timeline?
Well, there should be a.
Oh, no fucking. You could tell when I take a picture in my bathroom, though, at what time.
Here we go. September 23rd, 2017.
Oh.
So this is right after the 2016 election when the Russians stole the election for Trump for some reason.
Yeah, stole the election for Trump, but then we're going to use Twitter to silence them. Okay.
You know, it certainly does seem from the outside, right? From the outside, it certainly seems that things have been better for Russia under Biden. I'm just saying. If they rigged the election for Trump in 2016, they certainly wasted their money. although not much of it because it was only 50K.
Yeah, it was the greatest return ever, obviously, David. And I'm sure in Russian dollars, that 50 grand was like probably 1 million Russian rubles. So, you know.
Knowing that our ads policy and product changes are an effort to anticipate congressional oversight, I wanted to share some relevant highlights of the legislation Senators Warner, Klobuchar, and McCain will be introducing. Yes, the good old trio there.
I fucking hate her. It's also funny, the word congressional oversight. I always love the way they rebrand control.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, black boxes, fucking A. Oh, why even release it? Like, even leaked files, I can't even get the correct shit in. It's unbelievable. It looks like my daughter fucking whatever.
The committees appear to have leaked, even as Twitter prepared to change its ads policy and remove RT and Sputnik to placate Washington. Congress turned the heat up more.
The satellite thing released in the Cold War?
Well, Sputnik is I think it's a Russian news source.
Okay.
Congress turned the heat up even more, apparently leaking the larger list of 2,700 accounts.
You didn't leak anything. There's black there.
Well, I doubt the 2,700 accounts are in there.
Oh, maybe they're just really short names, David.
They're really small. Reporters from all over started to call Twitter about Russia links. BuzzFeed, working with University of Sheffield, claimed to find a new network on Twitter that had close connections to Russian-linked bot accounts.
Nick Pickles. I will never trust the guy with the name Pickles.
It will only embolden them. Twitter internally did not want to endorse the BuzzFeed/Sheffield findings. Yeah, but how much did you not want to? Because clearly everybody fucking just went along and got along in the end.
Well, BuzzFeed's obviously right-leaning, David, so that's why they're
right. It's about as right-leaning as Sputnik. Senate Intel Committee is asking, possible to whip something together? The fuck? When BuzzFeed piece came out, the Senate asked for a write-up of what happened. Twitter was soon apologizing for the same accounts they'd initially told the Senate were not a problem.
Whip something up. Yeah, just come up with something to lie to 350 grown adults quick. Yeah, they're whatever. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave. This pisses me off, man. Like, really actually gets me upset. I know I'm not supposed to worry about things that are bigger than me, but these guys are just like nonchalantly texting about just lying to all, like, everybody that, like, everybody.
It sounds like you feel deceived.
I feel like so deceived.
Reporters now know this is a model that works. No shit. This cycle threatened legislation wedded to scare headlines pushed by congressional intel sources, followed by Twitter, caving to moderation asks would later be formalized in partnership with federal law enforcement. There it is. More Twitter files.
All right, just to summarize here. So upon hearing the news that the Russians may have a disinformation campaign planted inside the very groups of social media networks such as YouTube, Facebook, all these places, when they believed that them themselves may have had a problem with Russian bot activity, instead of acknowledging it and possibly looking into it, they just ignored it and then pushed the blame on Facebook.
It sounds like they didn't initially think the Russian issue was that much of an issue. Mm-hmm. So instead of addressing it with the media, they basically said, well, why don't you go look at Facebook because it's worse over there.
Okay. So
but then it seems like once the government got involved, they kind of changed their story a little.
So
because I suspect they were forced to change their story a little.
I got a conspiracy for you.
Perfect. Fauci would hate this.
Fuck that guy. Why can't they suicide him? All I'm going to say, okay, if Twitter is pointing the blame at Facebook, this is like, you blaming your sibling for shit. I know I made the joke during the whole breakdown here, but like, do you think Twitter really didn't think it was a big idea at first, or they were told to not think it was a big idea. And then when it became a big idea because they started losing the election that they didn't think they were going to lose, then they had to start putting a cap and a lid on it. And then they started having to run to undermine the president-elect at the time. Do you remember when he said that he was being wiretapped by the Obama administration and he got slack for that and everything else?
Yeah, no, they found that was true.
And then this is where some of the other dossier things, and it was all at once. It was all to undermine this president. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't Russian things or not, or that Twitter should have responded, I'm not saying any of that. Obviously, them pointing their finger at Facebook is funny. But the timeline of that time that you said, it's just shortly after the election in 2017, right? Or the following year in 2017.
Yes.
It's the timeline. I brought up the timeline because it is important. I mean, the whole idea at that time in 2016 and 2017 was that, at least in our space, was that this was a way to discredit Donald Trump and try to control the narrative and to make him seem like he's a Russian. I mean, they literally said the Russians got him elected.
Yes.
Like the very media now that is telling me to trust everything. We're telling me that a president, the most powerful man in the world, was elected by communists all the world away.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the same people that said the elections can't possibly be fraudulent or stolen, it's too safe and secure, were telling us that 50K in Facebook ads reached 126 million people and changed their minds.
Lottery.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Yeah, it's all. And then once again, there was nobody familiar with the matter this entire time since 2017 that couldn't open their fucking mouth. I don't buy it. Everybody knew. Everybody knew they were told to shut their mouth until it was time to use it as a narrative builder to discredit people in power. Because they don't actually want anything done. So, all the same. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. I'll see you guys there. David, thank you as always.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone.